Let's see, let's see. Loki, y'all wanna watch some animated scary stories? Come on.
Let's use Creative Cloud.
Come on, chat.
I'm not the kind of person who chases chaos. I like schedules, clean bathrooms, defined plans. But my husband Barry's a little looser with things. He'd pack a bag the morning of a flight, if I let him. But he's always been respectful of my needs for order. That's what made this whole trip feel like such a slap. We weren't flying cross-country or off-grid camping. Literally just a 3-hour drive out of the city. A little town built around a couple of lakes and creeks. The kind of place you forget existed until you scroll past some kind of aerial drone shot on social media and think to yourself, yeah, I could use a long weekend. So we did it the right way. Barry picked the destination. I booked the place. One of those Airbnbs that looked a little too perfect. Bright white interior, Edison bulb lighting, and a fire pit in the backyard. It said it was walking distance to the river. Sounds good. I cross-checked the references, verified the host profile, and made sure the lockbox code had come through properly. The booking confirmation said it had been recently cleaned and was fully reset for our arrival. That was the last phrase they used, reset, like we were loading into some digital hotel room and didn't remember the last guest. The drive-in was easy, mostly 2-lane
I ain't gonna
roads
lie.
and flat farmland.
That's not sus. That's not sus. That's not sus yet.
And broken up by little
It's not
clusters
sus.
of trees.
That's not sus.
There were actual cows out there. We stopped at this diner around 15 minutes from the house and had soup and grilled cheese, like we were retirees.
Who the fuck eats soup and grilled cheese as like a dinner? Soup and grilled cheese?
Just to buy ourselves time until the official check-in window had arrived. When we finally pulled up into the
Nasty
neighborhood,
ass.
it was a lot quieter than I expected it to be. No kids on bikes, nobody out mowing their lawn or washing their car.
Why do kids?
And the house itself sat at the
Alright.
far end of the cul-de-sac, boxed in by tall hedges and a rickety wooden fence in the backyard. The first thing that I noticed was the car. Not the one we drove in with, but the other one parked at the curb. Sleek, silver, clearly newer than anything else on that street. The hood was dusted over though, and pine needles were stuck to the windshield like nobody had even bothered to move it in days. I remember saying, "Do you think somebody's still here?" Barry just shrugged and got out to stretch.
No,
I
that's
didn't like that.
that's 100% sus.
I don't shrug things off like that either. I'd triple check a locked door before bed if I heard a single creak from the HVAC. I pulled up the app and clicked through the reservation. Everything looked right. Dates, address, check-in instructions. I even had a
would
backup email
contact
from
the
host with a note
Airbnb
about
host
the
and be
key
like,
being inside
"What
the
is this?"
lockbox. Still, I called the customer service just to be sure. And after a brief hold,
Not
the
customer
woman on the
service,
line
the
told me
nigga.
everything had been confirmed. The host had supposedly cleared the place out earlier in the week, and sometimes people just leave their cars behind if they get picked up. Barry was already halfway to
That
the porch
sucks.
by the time
Tow
I
it.
hung up my phone. The lockbox clicked open without any kind of fight.
And who the
Inside was
fuck
a single
leaves their
brass
car?
key, old school, a little tarnished around the ridges. Barry held it up like he just won a prize, and then slipped it into the knob. The front door creaked inward, revealing a tastefully decorated living room, neutral tones, abstract wall art, and one of those fake fireplaces with glowing logs. It looked like it was designed to look clean, without any kind of personality. And at first glance,
That's
it did
what
look
an
exactly
Airbnb
like the
is.
pictures I saw before. Still, I stepped in
Supposed to
slowly.
be clean.
The air wasn't stale exactly, but it wasn't fresh either. Like somebody had opened up all the windows earlier in that day and then shut them again just before we arrived. Barry walked in, called out a friendly
House
hello,
cleaners?
like we were visiting old friends or something. Of course, there was no answer. Just the gentle hum of a ceiling fan and the faint click of a wall clock. We brought in our bags and cooler, moving room from room. Kitchen, dining area, guest room, and bathroom. It all looked fine. I kept waiting for something to jump out though. Clothes on the floor, dishes in the
Why?
sink, a door that wouldn't open. But it was quiet. But there was just something about it, something gnawing at me. The staging felt far too perfect, like it had been reconstructed, not just cleaned. But I tried to shake the thought. Barry lugged the cooler into the kitchen while I wandered down the hallway. He called
That
for
could
me
be a
minute later,
possibility.
voice sharp.
So far, at every Airbnb experience I had, it's been pretty good. Host been nice. There was one where I went to DreamCon. I want to say it was 2023, where it was in Austin, Texas. It was an Airbnb host, rude as fuck, weird as fuck, kept stalking. Like, damn. Who is that extra person walking right behind you? Did my man's that's also being here? I need everybody information. What? I told you it's gonna be four of us. What are you talking about? I need everybody information. Weird. I'll never go to him again. No cap. No cap. No cap. That was the weirdest Airbnb experience, and that was because the host was weirdly stalking us. We were all, so I don't know, but
Babe, you gotta
yeah, that was,
see
shit
this.
was weird.
I came back and found him standing with the fridge door wide open. Inside, it wasn't empty, not even close. It was packed full. Milk, deli meat, a full vegetable crisper, beer, a wrapped cheesecake on the top shelf, and everything was fresh. I leaned in and checked the labels. Nothing was expired. Somebody had stocked this fridge within the last few days.
That's
This
good.
isn't ours, is it? Barry said, though of course I knew it wasn't.
That's a good
Did you
host.
order groceries? No, I said. And this isn't leftover from the guests. There's no way this stuff would still be good. I pulled out my phone and wrote to the backup Airbnb contact that I'd been given, the real-time guest liaison or whatever they called themselves. I told them about the fridge. 15 minutes later, I got a reply and said, "Oh no, thanks for letting us know. It was an honest mistake. Owner must have left it by accident. Home is definitely vacant though. You're all clear to settle in. Enjoy your stay."
Okay.
No apology, just that vague, breezy dismissal. Barry then cracked open a soda from the fridge because of course he would.
No apology
and
is
then went to
okay.
get the bags from the car.
Because I mean
stayed
he said
behind
it was
and
a
wandered to
genuine
the
mistake.
bathroom.
Like,
It was
I
clean,
feel like that was
like
an
everything
apology.
else. Queen bed made tight, suitcase stand folded in the corner, lamp on the nightstand.
Nothing
The
sus.
adjoining bathroom was
yeah.
lit by one high-frosted window and smelled faintly of lemon cleaner. That's when I noticed the medicine bottles on the back of the toilet. 6 orange prescription containers lined up in a row. I stepped in and picked one up. Hydrocodone, 10 milligrams. But the name was smudged. The date was only a week old, though. The others were similar: painkillers, anti-nausea, sleeping aids. Next to them sat a manila envelope thick with paperwork. I slid the top open and saw forms from a regional cancer center. Billing information, treatment plans, chemo schedules, home care notes, radiation prep. I flipped through, my gut turning tighter and tighter. These weren't old papers, they were active, ongoing. "Barry," I called out. And that's when I heard him
Fuck is wrong with her eyes?
scream. It was short and panicked, not drawn out. A gut-level sound that ripped me away from the sink and then down the hall. I followed the sound to the master bedroom where Barry stood frozen just inside the doorway. I pushed past him and stopped cold. There was a body on the carpet. Male, adult, face down. The skin was gray-green and sloughing in places. The stench hit me like a wet rag. Not quite rot, but the early oily phase of decomposition. Metallic, sour, unmistakable.
How did they not smell that when they first walked in? Come on.
His fingers were curled like claws, arms stretched downward towards the door,
But
as if he was trying to
whoever
drag
cleaned
himself
the
out.
place
His clothes were damp with
left
old
the
sweat
body
and
on
waste.
purpose.
The back of his shirt was soaked through and stained with a deep maroon, where he apparently had leaked out while lying there.
Ugh.
One leg was twisted unnaturally beneath him. like it had just given out halfway through the crawl. Barry backed out of the room gagging, and I just stood there, staring, because the rest of it was falling into place in my head. The full fridge, the medicine, the car out front.
This is
the
his
Airbnb
place.
confirmation that the host had cleared out the week prior. He didn't leave, I said aloud, now numb. He was always still here. Barry didn't answer me. He was halfway in the hallway now, bent over and dry
Who messaged back though?
I stepped in carefully and skirted around the mess on the floor. Checked the dresser. It was still full of clothes. Men's underwear, socks, folded t-shirts. The nightstand had a charger plugged in. His wallet was open next to a glass of water. I didn't touch it, but I could see his license through the little plastic flap. Same last name as the booking. This was the host, the guy who'd supposedly cleaned the house before we got there. Only he never finished. He died doing it. I turned and followed Barry back down the hall. He was already on the phone with the Airbnb again, pacing in the living room, trying to stay calm, but quickly unraveling with every single breath. Yeah, we just found a body. No, a body.
Thought
It's
I
in the
heard
house you said
something.
was clean and empty. No, this isn't like the fridge. This is a man's corpse, literally rotting in the back bedroom. I
Call
stood
the
in middle of
police.
kitchen
Why
and
do they
just
call
stared
an
at the counter,
Airbnb?
willing my thoughts to line up. The fridge, the prescriptions, the car, the fact that somebody approved our stay without ever even physically checking the property. The fact that we've been dismissed twice by customer service people who clearly didn't verify a fucking thing. There was no malice or conspiracy, just negligence. The kind that gets people hurt. The police showed up maybe 30 minutes later. 2 cruisers, no lights or sirens. The first officer to enter took one breath inside the master bedroom, then doubled back with a hand over his nose. They asked us to step outside, so we stood by our car in the gravel drive, while a paramedic team suited up to examine the body. I think Barry smoked 3 cigarettes in a row and didn't speak the whole time.
What?
I just stood there holding my phone, staring at the unread messages piling up from the Airbnb rep, who suddenly had gone very quiet once the words police and dead body were mentioned to them. An older detective arrived not long after, lean and very deliberate, gray mustache and mirrored sunglasses. He spoke to me first. "Do you know the deceased, ma'am?" He
No.
asked me. "No," I said. "We were renting the place. He was supposed to be gone. The company told us the house had already been cleaned and the owner had vacated the property." He raised his eyebrow. "You ever been here before?"
What?
"No." "You touch anything?"
What?
I hesitated. "I moved some papers in the bedroom. They look like treatment forms for cancer." He made some kind of note, and I watched his team bring out the body in a zipped black bag, the outline barely resembling the man that we found face down on that carpet. The smell didn't disappear. It seemed to hang over the driveway like smoke itself, a smell that would soak into our clothes, into our luggage, and into our memories. They questioned Barry next, and his answers seemed to be shorter than mine, or clipped. They asked us to give a formal statement at the station, but they could also tell that we were shaken up, so they offered to let us go after taking photos of our IDs and then verifying our reservation.
Okay, right.
We left, and the detective said something strange before we did. We had no reports of this man missing, no wellness checks, nobody called. As far as anybody's concerned, he was still alive until you opened up that front door.
What?
I nodded, but didn't say what I was thinking. He probably had nobody.
Are you still in this bitch?
Yo, wait. Oh, shit. Ish.
Damn.
What's the deal? You can see this too. It's actually a pretty interesting story too. I'm not even about to hold. So it's like this Airbnb. Man, appreciate that follow.
We drove to the nearest Super 8.
I used to
about
watch.
15
Hold on,
minutes
hold
outside
on,
of
hold on, hold on.
town.
I used to
The
watch
lobby-
these every day, bro. Back when I lifeguarded,
Bro.
I would just sit out and watch or listen to these scary things while I just had to watch folks swim and shit, bro. These are the most interesting. I can't hold you.
So far,
I'm locked.
so far. These Airbnb people found a dead body, and when they pulled up to the Airbnb, and the police are being very weird right now. So they go into the station to get a statement. You ain't missed nothing too crazy. Only thing is, they found a dead body.
He smelled like
Okay.
disinfectant and vending machine coffee.
And the dead body name is also the name of the host that was renting the Airbnb.
Barry
that's
didn't
interesting.
say anything until we were lying in the stiff queen bed with the TV on mute and our shoes still on. What if we hadn't gone into that room? He asked. What if we just spent the weekend there? Slept next door while he was rotting down the hall? I didn't answer because I already knew. The next morning, I got an email from the Airbnb apologizing for the inconvenience and assured me that the matter had been escalated to the safety response team.
Tell me, and Ishmael, bro, these niggas called Airbnb support before the police. I'm like,
Our
yo,
entire trip had been refunded.
you got the
They
game
even offered
backwards.
us a free future stay. I deleted that email without saying anything in response,
Bro, it's
and
the
then
support team. They're supposed to
quickly
have you.
deleted the app.
Support team's like, no refund. You didn't sign up for refund, so no refund.
Signing up for a refund is crazy.
Nigga, I wish
I flew out for a
Airbnb
tech
would
conference,
say some
but
shit like
if I'm being
that.
honest, the real plan was to stretch it into a little coastal vacation. Conference stuff was 3 days long, but I took 6 off total, with the back half of the trip wide open. No meetings, no emails, just sun and some space. It was February in New York, and I was sick of stepping over black slush and dodging subway coughs. I needed a reset. The Airbnb was a modern bungalow just outside
this is
of
a
LA,
new story, I
Venice
guess.
adjacent,
Okay.
they called it. Little house tucked between bigger ones, right near the beach. Photos showed some hardwood floors, a full kitchen, sleek appliances, one queen bed, and a desk by a picture window. I figured it was the perfect base. I'd hit the panels and break out sessions, maybe network a little, then disappear into the boardwalk crowd and get a few drinks, talk to some women, hubba hubba, maybe take 1 or 2 back if the vibe was right. When I landed at LAX, everything ran smoothly. The Uber picked me up at the curbside. Nice driver, knew the shortcuts. The check-in instructions were detailed and easy. Lockbox by the side gate.
I would do a
included
solo
in the
trip,
app,
I'm not
key
gonna lie.
inside.
I would fuck with
I
a
don't
solo
think I'd
trip.
I got in around 2 in the afternoon. The place
can't, bro.
looked just like the
I don't know,
photos.
niggas.
Clean, bright, and smelled like fresh
A
paint
solo
and citrus.
trip? Well, I mean, it's different. You got
Unpacked
your
right away
girl,
because
but like
I
if you
always
was,
do that. Call it
even-
compulsive, but
I ain't gonna lie, I
like
still be
knowing where my
thinking,
stuff
like,
is. I had a
I would
roller
still
bag
do
and
a
a
solo
backpack,
trip even though I'm in a
both of which I
relationship.
emptied into drawers and closets within the next 10 minutes. My laptop and camera went on the desk. My wallet, keys, and conference badge landed on the kitchen counter. I noticed there was no other personal clutter. No toothbrushes, no coats hanging near the door. No signs that anybody lived
just
here.
go off a King
But
and
that's the way I like it. I mean, I'm renting the place, not borrowing
I don't know
somebody's
about a solo
house.
trip though, bro.
Come on.
Those next few days
They
were
gotta be
pretty
somewhere
normal.
that speaks
I hit the
English.
conference early, came back late, slept like the dead.
It don't got to be out the country.
I took a few
It could be
photos of the
in-
beach
you know
at
what I'm saying?
sunset. Even got a few compliments on my
In the
camera
country,
gear.
I could get down with.
But on the
Outside,
third
I
day,
don't know.
once the conference was
I ain't
almost
gonna lie,
over
I
and
would
my
do a
schedule
solo trip
loosened up,
outside the country.
I started noticing these little things.
But it's got to be
Doors
somewhere I
ajar
already
that already
been,
closed, stuff
so
out of
Jenny won't
place.
get jealous.
I quickly told
Because
myself
if I take
that
a
was
solo trip to
imagining it,
Japan,
but
she would be
I
fucking
wasn't.
jealous.
something was not right in that house. I started with the bathroom door. I remember closing it after my shower, habitual, because I didn't want the steam to escape. I had some shirts hanging in there.
But so far, I
But
only
when
been
I
to the
came back
Bahamas.
later that night to brush my
I only
teeth
been there
before
one
bed,
time.
it was now standing wide open. Not halfway, not nudged open.
That shit nice. though.
Open. Fully.
Man, beautiful water.
I chalked it up to some kind
beach,
of draft. The place did have a lot of
the
windows.
fucking
And
air,
I had the front one cracked
beautiful.
earlier, so
The
that
people,
had to
the
be it.
food. Oh my
But
god,
then
the food
it was the bedroom
crazy.
closet,
Caribbean,
and I never
real
used those
authentic
things.
Caribbean
It was too
food.
easy to forget things in a rush. Still, one
Top-
morning
top
after
tier.
a walk on the
I'm
beach,
telling you, top
I came
tier.
back and noticed that bifold door pushed in
ain't down.
slightly, like somebody had just slipped in to grab a jacket. I didn't even want it open at first. I just stared at it for a while, then slowly pulled the doors apart. Nothing inside. just my luggage, zipped up and right where I left it. But all of this had started to get in my head. That night, I found the peanut butter jar sitting out on the counter, lid open, spoon right next to it. I hadn't eaten any. I hadn't even touched the thing since I unloaded my groceries.
Hell no.
And that's when I got the feeling. The one that you get when you know, not think, know somebody's been in your stuff. The next day, I took photos of everything before I left. Wide shots of every room, time-stamped as well. I even arranged a few things in deliberate ways. A folded dish towel on the oven handle. My charger coiled up just so on the nightstand. I went out for lunch and checked the photos when I got back. Sure enough, the towel was now different, sloppier. The charger was uncoiled and rewrapped in this totally different loop. The peanut butter jar was now in the pantry, not the fridge. I stood in the kitchen for a long time, and the silence was wrong. The kind of silence that waits to be broken. Not peaceful, but expectant. Like I wasn't supposed to be there, or maybe like I wasn't alone. That night I took a lot more drastic measures. I set my phone on the entry table and aimed it straight at the front door. I propped it against a stack of coasters, set it to record video, and made sure the battery was at 100%. Then I opened the app and ordered an Uber. I had no intention of going anywhere. I just needed to make it look like I had. When the driver pulled up, I walked out, locked the door, and climbed in. I asked him to take me around the block and then drop me back on Pacific Avenue. He didn't ask me any questions, and I tipped him extra and then waited until he turned the corner before looping back to the house on foot. My heart was racing. I cut through an alley and crouched behind a neighbor's hedge until I had a clear view of the street. There was a car in the driveway that had not been there before. Dark blue SUV, nondescript, no plates on the front. I took a photo of it just in case. I approached the house slowly. The front door was cracked open. I stood outside for a few seconds just listening. Then I
call the
pushed it
police
open
at that point
and stepped inside. The
You got
first thing I heard was
enough
movement,
evidence.
soft, unhurried footsteps in the back of the house. Then a cupboard opening. I stayed low and moved fast, following the sounds to the kitchen. A man stood there, lounging to the
hell
fridge,
no.
middle-aged,
I'm
wearing a plain white hoodie and jeans.
I'm beating this nigga's ass.
His hair was thinning,
Oh,
face puffy,
yeah.
like he hadn't slept in a while.
I'm
When he
giving
turned
him
and
the
saw
black
me, he
and blue
froze like I
treatment.
just hit him with a spotlight. Whoa, whoa, he said, hands half raised. You scared me, man. Who the fuck are you? I asked, not yelling, just flatly. I'm the owner, he said quickly. It's my house. No, it's not, I said. Not right now. I have a reservation through Sunday.
Nigga said no, it's not.
Right, he said, nodding. I know, I left some stuff here. I figured while you were out, I didn't mean to scare you. Bullshit, I responded. You've been here the whole time. He stepped toward the door casual. Look, man, I didn't touch anything, all right? I was just grabbing a few things. Don't move, I said to him. My phone's been recording the door since I left. I saw your car. You've been coming and going. He hesitated, and I watched his face change. The mask slipped for a second. Not panic, but calculation. He realized that I wasn't buying his story. He also realized that I wasn't just going to let him leave. I pulled out my phone and hit the call button. Calling the cops. Hey, come on, he said, trying to sound calm. That's not necessary. I'm not dangerous, I swear. This is my place, man. I just thought I could come by while nobody was home. I didn't think you'd be back so soon. You went through my shit. He looked away. I'm missing $500 for my luggage, and I know it was in there. His hands tightened at his side. And if I go check right now, I said, am I gonna find my laptop in your bag? I didn't get an answer, just that faint buzz of tension in the air, like we were two wires pressed together.
I'm talking
waiting to
about
spark.
mink.
He then dropped his head and muttered,
I'm talking
look, you don't
about
need to call them.
mink.
I'll give it back. I already called. He swore and spun around like he might bolt, but the front door was behind me now, and I'm not moving. A few minutes later, the cops showed up and I showed them the video of the phone, and the guy just stood there looking deflated. They went through his bag and found my laptop wrapped up in a sweatshirt, plus the small
Not a
wallet
bad
cash.
thing, no.
Some of the bills had my initials on the corner. I marked them on a whim when I packed. I travel a lot, and I have a lot of people try to steal from me before, so it's just something I do. The cops didn't cuff him, but they escorted him out and warned him not to return. They let me file a full statement. I watched his car disappear down the block, and it wasn't until it was completely out of sight that my hands finally started to shake. The cops told me he wasn't technically trespassing because he was the legal owner, and he hadn't used force to enter. It would take a formal complaint from Airbnb for charges to stick. But the officer nodded toward the recording on my phone and said, "That'll definitely help. They're going to want to see that." I told them that I'd send it to whoever needed it. That night, because of everything, I didn't sleep much. I pushed the chair under the doorknob like some old cartoon, kept the lights on in every room, and stacked my suitcase in front of the front bedroom window, just in case I heard glass breaking. I waited for the sound of tires on gravel, the glint of that blue SUV pulling back into view, but it never came. I called the Airbnb first thing in the morning, walked them through everything that took place. To their credit, they didn't fight on anything. The woman I spoke to sounded young but serious enough. She asked for the video, the photos of the car, and the copy of the police report, which I emailed over that afternoon. By the end of that day, I had a full refund. They also added credit to my account and sent a follow-up message saying the host had been permanently suspended. Apparently, this wasn't the first time they'd gotten complaints about him.
So why
We were
the
already
fuck?
reviewing his activity, she told me. I'm really sorry it took something like this to push it over the line. So am I. I stayed that last night of the trip in a boutique hotel closer to downtown. Wasn't fancy, cramped room, barely enough space to turn around in the shower, but the key card worked and nobody crept through my kitchen while I was gone, so that's good, right? I kept thinking about how easily I could have missed it though. If I stayed out a little longer that day or turned the camera a few degrees to the left, I might have come back to a wiped laptop, empty cash stash, and a gaslit conversation with some apologetic stranger claiming, "Oh wow, you must have just misplaced it." I don't know what would have happened if I caught him at the wrong moment either, if I hadn't kept my voice steady, if he decided that I was just another mark. I still use Airbnb. I'm not stupid. I know most of the hosts aren't like that. The company made it right and they didn't even dodge the damage. But now I photograph everything, I mark all my bills, and I never ever leave without locking every entry point and double checking it on my way out.
Yeah, that was pretty good.